How's it going? Welcome back to another great video, my wonderful wise ones. Today I just want to highlight a kind of AA game that not many people are talking about, and honestly this looks super awesome. So today I'm going to be doing my early review of this game based on the early access gameplay and all of that good stuff. But honestly, this type of game is not going to appeal to everyone. It's one of those games that you can just sit back and relax, and like after a stressful day, you don't want something with a complicated storyline or deep gameplay mechanics. You just kind of want to switch off and unwind. Now this is the same game developers that made, absolute classics back on the PS3 generation and PS4. You might have heard of Journey. That was like the first kind of game of that nature, where it's not exactly a walking sim. And on the PlayStation 4, it's Abzû, okay? And these games, some might not even say they're games. It's kind of more art than a video game at times, because it's basically a flow state game in which there's kind of one direction and you just kind of follow that one direction, and basically it's very zen. It doesn't have many gameplay mechanics. It's one of those games that kind of it's more about the atmosphere and the feelings that you get playing these games, and that's what makes them very special, because it's quite rare to have a game that isn't heavily story focused, tons of cinematics. It's purely gameplay, but the gameplay itself is very light. The way they depict their worlds have always been incredible, and they do deal with, deep themes and some, like philosophical elements in them. Journey is all about kind of wrestling with your own loneliness and, connection and all that kind of stuff. And Abzû, I'm not really sure what that game's about, to be honest, but I did enjoy my time with it, and it's just one of those very relaxing zen type games. So today I'm going to be giving you my Sword of the Sea early review. Usually with my early access stuff, it's based on the hands-on stuff that I actually get access to at events, but there hasn't really been much about this game. It's been very quiet, but honestly I just want to bring attention to this game, because I don't think many people are talking about it, and I'm quite scared that it's just going to go under the radar. Gamers in general have kind of moved on from that kind of indie, quirky, zen-like experiences. Now everyone, wants video games to be a big, meaty package, especially with the prices of video games now. So it's more and more difficult for these kind of smaller games to be made. Because this game isn't exactly indie, I would say it's more AA. So let's just quickly get into this, some positives and negatives. It's going to be a short one, but I do hope you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Become a wise one today if you love video games and deep analysis on gaming, early reviews and philosophical content, video essays. I blend them all together on this channel, and being a wise one is about looking at things objectively and trying to have different perspectives. So subscribe if that sounds interesting and good for you, and consider becoming a member, because I have like 50 plus videos now for members only, so I'm gonna start now promoting that if you are interested. So this game, basically, like I said, it follows the same footprints as Journey and Abzû. And Abzû was all about, going underwater, the kind of diving aspect. Journey was more about kind of gliding on the sand dunes, a little bit of, flying around, platforming, light platforming and stuff like that. This combines both games in a way, because it's the sea and it's the desert. So it almost feels like taking the best of both Journey and Abzû and combining them together, and that already is a very interesting idea to me. The gameplay that I have seen so far, it's actually more hands-on than the previous games, where you are basically just following a single direction. And Journey did have some hidden cool mechanics, like coming across other players and stuff like that. And Abzû did have some cool secrets to find, because it was a little bit more open. This is kind of going for that more open approach, just like Abzû, which I'm a big fan of. What I love so much about Sword of the Sea is it reminds me of some of my favorite games like Jak and Daxter, and those old kind of skater games that we would get back on the PlayStation 2, where you have to do a lot of different tricks and stuff like that, and this actually gives you something. There's actually a score tied to this, and I'm glad to say that there is something similar in this game, and it does unlock something gameplay wise and story wise. So there is a reason to actually, do your best and, do lots of combinations and stuff like that. And it does feel a little bit more gameplay heavy. Abzû to me was a very relaxing game where, you can just kind of switch off your brain. Journey kind of dealt with more thematic depth, I felt. But honestly, if this one nails some kind of thematic meaning, then I'm completely sold, because visually these games are more art, like I said, than truly just a game. And it's kind of like moving through a painting, and that's what that's what I find so special about these games. The art style is absolutely beautiful. It just shows you that graphics don't have to be everything when you nail a good art style. And this one, like I said, is much more gameplay focused, with some light platforming and, like I said, skill based skating, and some water skiing. So it has a lot more going on with it this time, and I just wanted to highlight it because I do think that these games truly it's a breath of fresh air, because we don't want the industry just to focus on making the same experience over and over again. And having these games priced at a lower point, hopefully people give it a chance and pick it up. But I just wanted to highlight it because honestly these games just are special with how they make you feel, not necessarily for gameplay depth or for different like story elements that it tackles, but more so just how it makes you reflect on wherever you are in life. And I just think that these developers do something truly unique. I really do like the look of Sword and the Sea, because it just blends some of my favorite, gameplay elements from older games, like I said, from like Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, very old school vibes. They've even stepped up the technology here with, just like better physics, and it just looks absolutely incredible. There's lots of cool different tricks that you can do, just kind of like you would expect in a Tony Hawk game at some points. At the beginning it sounded like they wanted to do more courses and you go down like kind of more linear tracks, but they opted for this more open-ended gameplay with different pieces of geometry that you could actually create your own fun and create your own tricks and stuff like that from. So it's more of a playground than just a single you're going down this one route and you have to just follow that exactly. And to me that sounds a lot more fun, so I just wanted to highlight it today. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and if you're going to be picking this up, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace out.